Monstrous Rex, the Source King of Legend, lies dead once more, perhaps even for good. Dallas, badly weakened, looks to you.
The future of all that is.
So here we are.
Ifan reaches out to hold your hand.
Nobody I'd rather see this whole thing through with. I trust you. I trust your judgment.
Ifan smiles and kisses you on the cheek.
Well then?
Ifan keeps your hand held tight in his own as you stride, one damned intimidating pair, to what awaits.
Here we stand, once more on the cusp of divinity. But this cup, so long... All my life has been a lead-up to this. To be the king of kings. I will not say it was in vain, but if I were to chance upon my throne right now, I'd think of Sadha. I'd think of my children. And of course, I'd think of you. Yes, I'd sit there, thoroughly contented, and wait for you to ascend the... I know.
A mischievous smile.
But I do have to add, likewise.
Yes. Is it? I can hardly...
She casts her gaze around.
After everything we've been through, after everything we've seen, Chief, you need to ascend. There's no one I would trust with this responsibility, and I know you'll do it with style. Hell, I could have told you that. You'll do great. By me. Now go on. Shoot.
You think back on your journey here. On all that you have... You think of the Magisters and the sorcerers they hunted. You think of how the Eternals came as Voidwoken to reclaim... You look at the source around you. You think of what you could do with such power. You marvel at your journey and how it has changed you. You think it's time to choose your... Shall you be divine? After all that you have been through, and all that you have done, or to sacrifice. What you do next, what shall you do with divinity?
So it ended. A tale that began with my own ill-fated attempt to rid the world of the Godwoken. When the dust settled, no new divine had risen. Instead, all Source was released into the world for all the people and every creature to share. Everyone was now a sorcerer. And united, the peoples of Rivellon pushed back the God King into the very depths of the void. This ushered in a new golden age of peace and prosperity. But alas, it was not to last. With many greedy for wealth, power and position, the struggle soon began anew. Source, the very language of creation, was used in violence once more. The never-ending contest for power continued. As for me, I was freed of the tyranny of the God King. To atone for my sins in this world, I spent the rest of my days taking care of the sick and elderly. I would tell the story of the Godwoken to anyone who would listen. The story of the greatest heroes Rivellon had ever known. The heroes who chose not to close the veil.
Well, look what the cat dragged in. A Godwoken. But what good is it to be Godwoken when Source is now a free-for-all, and there is no divinity to be had? Don't fool yourself. As long as there is power, there is... In that sense, I suppose I should look upon it all as an opportunity. People crave authority. They'll beg for a sorcerer king like me. Please, I'm not a...
He sighs.
But come, we'll not part on bad terms, will we? Home. After all, I've dragons to raise. There may be an accident. I do so long to see my palace, to sit all day, and perfect above all, I long to be with Sadher. Oh, but before you go, remember how when we first met, I took you by the jaw to inspect your teeth? Not something one forgets in a hurry. Now, if you recall, as per your own at the time, of course, I couldn't have foreseen the adventure. What say you? Well, that's settled then. You're very... My boots are not going to clean themselves. You'll have to wear a collar again by the...
Malady stands tall and proud.
Well, here we are again. You get an eyeful. I've a lot of planning to do.
She drums her finger.
All that work, all that effort, tossed into the gutter like a malformed child. You say that now. Let's see how you feel when... Never mind. I'll find another...
She fingers the mask, covering her face.
We've come a long way together. I did my...
She looks you up and...
I guess this will have... Take a moment while... Relax. Enjoy. I certainly plan to do the same. The same way I do everything, of course. Oh, I don't know. Around and about. Perhaps our paths until we find out. Don't you have somewhere else?
You escaped an abominable prison and confronted the king of all gods only for divinity. Now that I am clear of mind and free of int. Once I've come until we look away from the past.
The flaming hatchling bounces and cheek.
Mommy! Mommy! Looky, looky! At me!
It takes you a moment to realize the egg you've been carrying The chick's joy.
Money!
The chick's joyous flutter. Beast's spirit smiles.
You hear the wild beast just sails on the oak. The cupboard can't hide you, nor can...
He pauses. Then Beast tilts it.
Money!
The chick's...
Source of all, eh? Bold move, I'll grant you that. I didn't think anyone considered the little people anymore. I don't know yet. But time will tell. That is the question, isn't it? No, of course, I intend to seek them out. If you gave everyone in the world an equal share of gold, do you believe all theft would cease?
I feel weird. Like I've got ants. There is a matter I must attend to.
He taps his finger.
1,300,000 dozen and 50 teen gold pieces. Now pay up. Oh, yeah? What's that?
Han ponders your...
You got it. Hey!
Hey there, Chief. So, a world full of sorcerers. What do you make of it? I suppose it will. Never hurts to shake things up a bit. Spice of life and all that. I don't know if anyone's free, but I'm bloody thrilled. Get loot, play. So, Chief, I guess this is it, right? You say that now, but whatever it is.
As she turns from you, the whites of her eyes darken. Suddenly, it's gone again.
See you around.
Losa sings to herself. The slight grin cross... Seville spirit... Seville spirit... Hifan beams at you, his blood-streaked face more jubilant than you've ever seen it.
We did it. The odds were against us. Hell.
Hifan grasps your face in his hands and kisses you exuberantly.
Now we'll see something. We'll see what happens when everyone can harness their own divinity. Me either. I knew it. From the first time with a world full of sorcerers, we should be able to make short work of the Voidwoken. That's...
He reaches out and takes your hands in his own.
I want that more than anything.
Hifan embraces you fiercely, as your source mingles and sparks.
Are you ready for what's next?
I suppose it's time...
It gives me almost as much pleasure to speak to you as it does to be whole again. I will always be an ally to those. I am at the ready.
She is full of surprises. I feel better than new.
You look out to the end, and with a start, you realize where you must go. The world was at peace, at least for now. With its significance as the seat of divinity diminished, Arx fell into decline, and within 7 generations had emptied. Few were as prepared for the new world as the lizardkin of the ancient empire. With power spread equally throughout the world, the advantage lay with those who knew how to steal it, and at this the lizards excelled. With their queen dead and the Voidwoken gone, the dwarves held the greatest party in the history of dwarfdom. A new king took the throne, the local brewer. 6 days later, he was stabbed to death with a mutton fork. With their power returned, the elves reclaimed their lands from the Death Fog and began to rebuild. Soon they would split as two factions sought power, one to bring back the trees, the other to bring back the scions. A dwarven joke did the rounds. It ends with the punchline, "So Lucian dropped the Death Fog on them again." And in a dark forest on the far side of a desert, well beyond the high seas, the Black Ring came together once more. The island of Fort was turned over to the people of Driftwood to use as they wished. They turned it into a holiday resort. Reaper's Coast prospered. The fisheries returned, and the fertile farmlands produced the greatest harvests the surviving farmers had ever seen. Blood Moon Island became particularly fecund, its soil producing the greatest crops. A particularly crimson-fleshed orange grown on the island became a delicacy across half the world. The black pits took fire. The oil there burns still. Driftwood became a centre of industry, trade and transport. Lohar the dwarf became mayor. His time in office was cut short by an unfortunate wound that spontaneously appeared on his neck. Lagan left his over-demanding wife and began a relationship with a local bard. In the spirit of loving generosity, he returned the ring to his now ex-wife. In a fit of rage, she threw it into the sea. The nameless isle had vanished. Although only open water remained, by instinct ships would steer clear. None of the captains could articulate why. Millennia later, adventurers would come in search of the legendary divine city of Arx and the crypt of the great Lucian. None would pass the path of blood. Young Han went into the theatre and became one of the realm's most popular actors. Almira and Mihaili settled in an abandoned homestead. The locals liked and respected Almira. She never wanted for help, and deals always fell to her favor. Outsiders were often suspicious, but no local would speak against her. With no new divine, Malady found herself in a predicament. She had an important problem to solve, but no ally strong enough to call upon, and so her search continued. Having performed the greatest act of necromancy in history, Tarquin found the new world unchallenging. He became obsessed with rumors of another plane of existence. One day he vanished and was never seen again. With the source released to the world, Ahu the wizard spent more and more time as a cat. One day he decided he would not change back. Mordus scratched out a living, ending up as a short-order cook. After an epiphany arising from the phrase, sunny side up, he started a religion. Upon his death from food poisoning, all three of his followers committed suicide. Jehan, the demon hunter, found himself at a loose end. So, he opened a museum of demonic artifacts. After it burned down, with Jehan inside, witnesses claimed that the flames were the color of blood. As the forests grew anew and the elves were equals at last, Sahala shared elven knowledge of source with the world. But some elves disagreed and plotted against her. Chief amongst her opponents was Tova, Sahala's own mother. With a small band of elves, Ifan ben Mezd replanted the lost elven forests. After the first fresh shoots broke the earth, he disappeared and was never seen again. Some say Afrit, his soul wolf, walks the forests still. The Red Prince came home a hero. Soon Prince became emperor, and his armies marched on their neighbors. The Red Empire was born, and his house remained true to its name. There was never a day without war. Lohse returned to her music and enjoyed a storied career as Rivellon's premier musician. Dark moods would at times overtake her, and she would spend long hours walking in the wilds. She always returned with a new song. And then there was you. You returned to the world a sorcerer among many. Your future was yours to decide. Did you accept your new status with humility? Only you know the truth. Only you know if you atone for your sins.
終わりました。
After all the... Or to what you do... What shall you do?
And so it ended. A tale that began with my own ill-fated attempt to rid the world of the godwoken. A new divine rose, a true heir to the Seven, more powerful than ever, and united Rivellon in its battle against the Void. All across the realm, she was loved, worshipped, and adored. Humans, lizards, elves, and dwarves all rallied to her banner. The Great Allegiance stood once more, but the war continued. From the depths of the Void, the God King still sought to return. As for me, I was freed of the God King's terrible tyranny. I avoided an eternity of pain and suffering. Now I fight for the other side. Now, I fight for the divine.
Well, well. Look what the cat...
He smiles at you fondly as he takes you...
You've done us proud. You saved the world, didn't you? No. We were all of us instrumental. I'm glad it was you. Home, if you don't mind. After all, I've dragons to raise. There may be, and I do so long to sit all day. But above all, I long to... Oh, but remember how when we first... Not something. Now, if you recall at the time... What say you? Well, only the best for the Red Prince. You'll have to wear a...
Malady stands tall and proud.
Well, here we are again. Get an eyeful, Your Holiness.
She turns to you.
Look at you. Magnificent. Actually, except for one.
She fingers the mask.
We've come a long way together. Soon, but relax, enjoy. I certainly plan to do... Oh, I don't... And when the time... You're holy. Don't be a stray...
You escaped an abominable... Not that your story is finished, of course. Your divinity, as a matter, source makes whether you are clever now that I once until we...
The flaming hatchling...
Money!
It takes you a...
Money!
The chick's joyous flutters launch a few stray...
There's nothing interesting down there. The future lies above, not below.
Well, if it isn't the new divine gracing me with her
Tarquin's...
I didn't come all this way to that. No, of course. I intend...
A slight grin crosses the spirit.
I see great potential in our new divinity.
Sibyll's spirit...
Oh my, you!
She curtsies low.
So, what's your first order of business? End world hunger? Instigate world peace? Send all spiders back to hell where they belong? Well, yeah. I'm not the next...
She winks.
So? Come on, don't keep me in suspense. What are you gonna do with your almighty power? Big job. I'd offer to help, but I've got some business of my own to attend to. Ding, ding, ding! My loot calluses are all but... So, Chief, I guess this is it, right? Don't speak too soon. Let me know if you...
As she turns from you, suddenly it's gone...
See you around.
Losa sings to...
You're the new divine. That's so cool. What's it like? Neat. There's also...
He taps his finger.
1,300,000 dozen and 50... Oh, yeah? What's that?
Han ponders...
Okay. I love...
Beast spirit smiled.
Hear the way.
He paused. Beast tilted.
Money!
The chick. Ifan gives you an appraising glance. Curiosity reflected in the mirror of his eyes.
So, I truly hope you'll do better than Lucian. Be better. But you know,
He squeezes.
I need to fix what I'm going to return to the forests where I grew up.
Ifan pulls you into his arms and embraces you.
Visit me sometime. Use it wisely, Divine. Use it wisely.
I suppose it's time.
It gives me almost as much pleasure to... I am at the... Consider...
I feel...
You look out, and with a start, war raged on. Arx remained the center of power as the races united behind the Divine. But the Voidwoken attacks continued as they did elsewhere. Arx would see many more long years of war. The ancient empire of lizards became one of the pillars of the new Divine Alliance. The houses of war and of shadows were particularly useful in the fight against the God King. The Empire used the war to expand its territory. With Justinia dead, the Dwarven Kingdom descended into chaos. But although they did not join the Divine Alliance, many joined the fight against the Void, and did their people great honor in battle and in death. With Lucian gone, the elves reluctantly rejoined the Divine Alliance. Their place in the war on the Void would entirely depend on the integrity of the new Divine. And here and there, across the world, what was left of the Black Ring fought on. The island of Fort Joy remained a sorcerer's paradise, a place of exile for those whose sorcery threatened to bring in the Void. For their well-being, its residents depended entirely on the benevolence of the new Divine. Reaper's Coast struggled on. The farms and the fisheries fought to feed the people against the Voidwoken blight. The black pits took fire. The oil there burns still. Driftwood teetered on the edge of starvation until the night the Voidwoken came from the sea. All were killed. This did, however, put an end to the famine. The nameless isle had vanished. Although only open water remained, by instinct ships would steer clear. None of the captains could articulate why. Arx battled on. Young Han grew up a warrior and became one of the Alliance's greatest generals. But even he could not win the war. Almira and Mihaili settled in an abandoned homestead. The locals liked and respected Almira. She never wanted for help, and deals always fell to her favor. Outsiders were often suspicious, but no local would speak against her. With a new Divine at the helm, Malady had a powerful ally, but she was in no hurry to call in her favor. After all, it might be the last thing she ever did. Having performed the greatest act of necromancy in history, Tarquin found the new world unchallenging. He became obsessed with rumors of another plane of existence. One day he vanished and was never seen again. Ahu the wizard served the new divine with honor, wisdom, and an at times unnerving feline elegance. Changed by his experience with the Godwoken, Mordus proved a useful tool in the fight against the Void. The Alliance quickly learned to keep him away from ordinary soldiers for the sake of morale. Jehan the Demon Hunter never stopped hunting for demons. Sahala sought to strengthen the Elven alliance with the new divine. Her powers of sight proved useful in the ongoing war against the Void, but she could never be sure that the new divine trusted her. Tova, her mother, was Sahala's most trusted warrior. With a small band of elves, Ifan ben Medst replanted the lost forests. After the first fresh shoots broke the earth, Ifan returned to the war, leading the elves in service of the divine. Some say Afrit, his soul wolf, walks the forest still. The Red Prince returned home a hero, and soon became emperor. He used the war on the Void to expand the empire. His house remained true to its name. There was never a day without war. Lohse returned to her music and enjoyed a storied career as the Divine's premier musician. Dark moods would still overtake her, and she would spend long hours walking in the wilds. She always returned with a new song. And then there was you. For how much of this do you take credit or blame? And what kind of divine were you as the world battled on? Did you show mercy or strength? Did you sacrifice others as Lucian had done? Did you regret becoming divine? Should you have given your soul and sealed the veil? Only you know the truth. Only you know if you atone for your sins.